Hey guys, what's up? It's your VFit coach, and this video is about weight training progressions. So in a previous video, we learned about sequencing muscle groups. Now it's time to dig deeper into the details of workout programming. First of all, what is the definition of workout programming? So the generic definition would be about looking at your whole entire workout program, about setting your goals, how many times you should work out per week, the duration of your workouts, and a periodization on cycles on, like, should I do 6 weeks of strength training and then 6 weeks of strength endurance and whatnot. However, some of the deeper details of workout programming is progressions. Okay, so one of the most important aspects of strength training are progressions. Most people don't plan progressions correctly, or they don't even plan them at all. For example, should I increase the load from the previous time? Number two, should I increase the reps from the previous time? And the other alternatives is, should I increase the sets, or should I add an additional exercise within that training muscle group? Another thing is you can add a variation. So all of these need to be addressed when you create a progression. So let's summarize that again. So let's look at the 5 things you could change. We can increase the load intensity. We can increase the reps. We can increase the sets. We can add an exercise, and we could create a variation of the motion. So you have like 5 choices. Probably not a good idea to change all 5. You could change 1 or 2 within each progression. But when you're aware of all these options, you can create a progression every time you hit the specific muscle group. So, and this is what I normally suggest with my clients, is to make some kind of adjustment every time you hit that specific exercise. The easiest progression type is to change the reps. So for example, if you performed 10 reps, 3 sets, why not perform 12 reps, 3 sets? So that's probably the most easy and the most safest way to take an approach on a progression. However, another way is to change the load. A little more on the disadvantage, because maybe you don't get to 10 reps, maybe you don't get to 8 reps. So it could get a little confusing, because it's hard to monitor what's the difference between 6 reps at a heavier weight than 10 reps at a lighter, moderate weight. The other things you could execute is, add more sets. For example, if you're doing 3 sets every single time, next time you could add a 4th set. We're going to take a look at some charts. We're going to look at some case scenarios for hypertrophy. Now, for those of you that don't understand hypertrophy, it's to gain muscle, specifically size, but not necessarily huge amounts of muscle mass. So women, yes, you need hypertrophy as well. And usually when you want to develop that, you stick with around 8 reps. 10 reps is fine, 12 reps. However, you want to maximize each set with approximately a maximum of 8 reps. That will really gain a lot of tension into that muscle. So why not a static approach? Static meaning, why not I just do 100 pounds, 8 reps, second set, 100 pounds, 8 reps, third set, 100 pounds, 8 reps, so forth. First of all, before I address that, we need to kind of understand what creates a muscle contraction. So I'm not going to get into too many details of this, however, but let me kind of give you a summary of what happens. When you begin lifting, your brain begins to communicate to the muscles through neurotransmitters and sensory receptors. So once those fibers get a signal, the signal creates the sliding filament theory, where the sarcomere and actin and myosin slide against each other to create a contraction. So in a nutshell, that's kind of the explanation. So once this contraction begins, you have these safety mechanisms to prevent overstretching of the muscle. And this is the muscle spindle, and this is the Golgi tendon organ. They work together to create limits, saying, okay, this is how far you could lift this weight, stop. Okay. Another analogy is an example of someone doing the splits. You dip down and you attempt to do the splits and you can't go all the way down. So your muscle spindle knows when to stop. And the golden tendon organ does the same thing about stopping the contraction of the muscle. So this is why you should lift lighter weights for the first few sets. That's why you don't, if your max weight is 100 pounds, 8 reps, you don't just put it on 100 pounds, 8 reps. So you're allowing your sensors to prepare for the heavier loads. And in other words, you warm up the muscles and the sensory organs before lifting heavier load. Okay, let's look at a case scenario. For example, this is a lat pull down. We're looking at 4 sets. You start off with a 50-pound load, do 8 reps. And let's say you just take 90-second rests. And if you notice, that equates to volume. 50 times 8 is 400. So your first set was a volume of 400. Now, later on in this video, I'm going to explain that these are just reference numbers for volume, because volume could become more complex than you think. So let's look at set number 2. We up to 80 pounds, 8 reps. And third set, 110. Fourth set, 130. So this is a correct type of progression that you should make for each set. Okay, so let's say it's time to do the lat pull down. Now you want to make a progression. I'm going to give you 3 options. And this first option is the most easiest. So let's look at this chart. Set 1, same thing, 50 pounds, 8 reps. Set 2, 80 pounds, 8 reps, so forth. All the load is the same amount of sets. However, on the 4th set, we are going to try and do 10 reps. So that is the simplest way to make a progression. And as you notice, the volume on the right-hand corner increases. And you could use this progression every time. Sometimes it's a little slow. Sometimes you don't see results quicker. However, this is probably the safest way to increase weight every single time you do this exercise. Let's look at option 2. And this is a little more aggressive approach. Set 1 is the same thing, 50 pounds, 8 reps. Set 2, same. Set 3 is different now. So set 3, we are adding load. So we are adding intensity. About 10 pounds. This is probably about 5 to 7%, I would say. And you go for the same amount of reps, 8. And now we become more aggressive. Instead of doing 130 on the 4th set, we are going to attempt 140. So this is another increase of intensity. And you could do 8 reps, you could do 10 reps. The goal is to do 10 reps. However, if you do 8, that's pretty much acceptable. Now, let's say you go to 140 and you only do 6 reps. So this means this progression is probably not the right one for you at this time. You probably want to go back to option 1 and choose that one instead. Now let's look at the third progression. This is a more aggressive approach, and I only recommend this for people that have experience. If you have at least 2 years experience lifting heavy weights in the gym, this might be a good option for you. So if you look at set number 1, I chose to do less reps. 50 pounds, 6 reps instead of 8. Same amount for set 2, but we do 6 reps. Number 3, 120, a little heavier than last time, 7% increase, 6 reps. So we reduced the reps for those first couple reps. Now we get to set number 4 and we're going for 140. We're going for that big increase, 8 reps. And we elect to do a 5th set at a little bit lighter weight of 120. And you go all out, try and hit as many reps as you can. So this is the progression I use with a lot of my more intermediate advanced clients. And if you monitor the volume and you try and shoot for a little bit more volume every single time, this is an effective progression that you could make. So several factors determine which option to choose. So are your muscle joints well rested? If they're not well rested, let's say you only had 2 days off and you're hitting a back muscle again or a chest muscle again, you may have to decide option 1 might be the best option. You don't want to increase intensity and be aggressive like option 3. Also, another thing to look at is what related exercise did you perform prior to this exercise. So most of you already know if you do a row, you're working back. If you do a lat pull down, you're also working back. So if you did rows before a lat pull down, it may affect your performance and you have to, try and choose the right option that's best for you. And third, what is your energy level? Maybe you're hitting back at the end of your workout, maybe in the beginning of your workout. So all these little variances throughout your workout and throughout what happens previously, like the activity level that you've done the last couple of days, may affect how you choose your progression. So, like I mentioned, volume that you see in these charts are only for reference, because eFitX, my app, it actually has a proprietary formula that can detect whether you're doing strength volume and endurance volume, and it could separate it. So this is one of the biggest values and biggest advantages of using eFitX, because it could actually tell you if you are optimizing the volume per your workout for hypertrophy. And for endurance, it could also detect that as well. So this wraps it up. I hope this video helps. Please give me a thumbs up. Also subscribe if you haven't. If you haven't watched any of the other videos, please watch them. This is the 4th video out of many. So check you out. Your VFit coach signing off. Peace out.